What's up, golfers everywhere? Scott Dolly, your co-host right here on the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. Today, shout out to all the speed golfers out there. We have the founder and creator of Speedgolf Australia, one of the biggest movers and shakers in this sport that we love and we're ready to grow. Virginia Deigan on the podcast, episode 19. Are you ready? Hey, thanks for tuning in to the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. If you haven't already been there, go check out paceofchange.com. Sign up for our newsletter. We're going to notify you of the latest news, upcoming events, upcoming podcasts, and very soon we're going to have product reviews. We're already doing them right now. Soon you're going to see them. All right. And make sure you follow us on Facebook /Pace of Change, on Twitter @Pace of Change Pod, and definitely join in the conversation. We interview the pioneers, thought leaders, game changers within and without, inside and outside the golf industry. Because what we want to do is talk about the future of golf. That's why we're broadcasting it right here on the Pace of Change Golf Podcast. Are you ready? We do it fast. We do it fun. So turn it up today and enjoy episode 19 with founder of Speedgolf Australia, Virginia Deigan. Hey everybody, this episode of the Pace of Change podcast is sponsored in part by LinksRun. Now, can you guess what Runner's World rated as the #1 surface to run on? Yeah, it's no surprise, of course. It's golf course fairways. The same fairways that are off limits to runners, unfortunately. You know, there were a record 18,000 timed foot races in the United States last year. Almost every one of them were on roads. Man, that hurts my back and my knees just to say that. I wonder how many ran past golf courses and wish they could be on the other side of that fence. Well, that's what LinksRun is doing. They're making that a reality. LinksRun is an innovative racing concept whose founders are passionate about running, but they're also passionate about growing the game of golf in the 21st century. So their vision is to build a bridge between two of the largest athletic communities in the world, golfers and runners, by hosting foot races on golf courses. Check out linksrun.com for more information, and if you'd like to see LinksRun come to your city, fill out their request form on their website, or just sign up for their newsletter. Okay, we are here. We have, and I'm very excited to have a good friend of mine, Virginia Deigan, on the podcast. How are you doing, Virginia?
Hi, Scott. Very well, thank you.
Very good. And I think we've got a guest with us today. Would you mind introducing her?
Yes, with me is Kirsten Bull.
Kirsten Bull. Hello, Kirsten. How are you doing?
Good morning, Scott. I'm good, thank you.
How are you feeling right now?
Pretty good, actually.
Yeah, congratulations. You just had a huge win for the third year in a row. And so how is the recovery coming?
The legs are a little sore, but overall, body's pulled up well. Walking stairs is tough, but everything else is pretty good. So I wouldn't expect anything different. You know, if your legs aren't sore after racing a marathon, it means you probably didn't run hard enough. So.
That is so awesome. Yeah, I'd love to have you back on. Would you be willing to come on the podcast?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, Virginia, so do me a favor and introduce yourself and maybe just give me the kind of the Twitter handle on who Virginia Deigan is.
Well, I'm a golfer more than a runner, I would say.
Okay.
And I started playing golf sort of late in life, early 30s, and really enjoyed it and got into some running for fitness and was reading Jacob Bowden's experience. I wrote a bit of a blog about his 2012 experience at the World Championships in speed golf. That's the first time I've heard about speed golf, so I was really excited to go out and give it a try, and I did. That was in probably early 2013. Got totally hooked and then turned up at the World Championships that year. It was the first time I played in a speed golf competition. And yeah, and here I am, came back to Australia and went, we need to do this back here, and have started Speedgolf Australia, and yes, things are moving forward.
So then you say you're more of a golfer than a runner, and you started playing golf in your early 30s, and that is not as common as most of the golf stories we hear, which is like, yeah, my parents played and I grew up going out with my dad or my mom or whatever. So I'm interested to know how you got introduced to the game in your early 30s.
I used to play a lot of team sports, and I was working in a job where I travel a lot, and I just couldn't make those team commitments. And so I actually stopped playing sport altogether for about, 5 or 6 years. And then I just started to really miss it. I felt there was a real gap in my life. I needed to play some sport again. So I wanted to do something that was an individual sport where, teammates weren't relying on me to turn up for training.
Yeah.
So something I started practice on my own and do on my own. And so I just chose golf, and then I went and had some lessons, and was addicted and went from there, and I've really enjoyed it. Been a member of a club, and I've traveled bits. I've been a member of several clubs, and it's been amazing. It's a great sport.
I love to hear that story, and I hope that there's so many more out there. I think that's what we're all trying to accomplish, is to see, people, not just young people come into the game, but to get those who've always kind of been a footstep away, to give them kind of the assurance and confidence to give it a try even later on in life.
Yeah, I agree. They talk about golf being a difficult sport to learn, and that's what keeps some people away from it or stops people from continuing with it. But I think, it doesn't have to be a difficult sport. We can make it a bit easier. So let's hope to get them in the door.
Yeah, absolutely. We can make it easier, and we can also make it more fun, and I think that's where we're headed with speed golf too, is not, maybe not making it easier, but making it different and making it fun and making it enjoyable, which I think, unfortunately, golf has lost a little bit of that, don't you think?
Yes, it has. And, we had the, like a 9-week social speed golf league in Melbourne, over summer.
Yeah.
And we called it social speed golf. Nobody had to keep their scores or their times. Quite often they did, just for their own interest. Everybody generally ran as a pair, and met people, people who they hadn't even played golf with before, like, or didn't know the event. We stuck them together because they preferred to play with someone. And it was just a lot of fun. It was so much fun. And, it became a very social event. Everyone would stay afterwards and have a couple of beers, and, it was really great fun. And everybody was saying that, that they didn't feel like any pressure on themselves to play good golf. They hit the ball and they ran. They didn't have 4 people waiting behind them on the tee box, pushing up on them or anything. And if you hit a bad shot, you just run to the next one.
Yeah.
You just don't care. Like, there's so much. You're more interested in getting from A to B rather than, hitting it, flush on the face every time. So, yeah, people really enjoyed it. They said it took a lot of pressure off their golf.
That's really cool. I'm interested to know what did the golf course, the pros there, what did they all think about it?
I think they really loved it. I think the speed golf group that came in, I don't know, they were just really excited and fun, and, and I think that they really actually enjoyed seeing a different group of people there on a Wednesday night. And they used to come out in the buggy and in the cart and watch us play out on the course, and they gave us free food quite often afterwards,
Wow.
At the end of the night. And yeah, they were really excited to have us there, and that they enjoyed it. So,
did any of the pros take a shot at it?
One of the females, Bonnie, who works in the pro shop, she's not a pro, but she's sort of trainee, I think.
Yeah.
She came out and played one time with us.
That's cool.
And she really enjoyed it. Yeah.
So your introduction to the sport of speed golf was through Jacob Bowden's blog post that was on Golf WRX, is that right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. That has actually been a central point of like a lot of people finding out about speed golf. By the way, that's what I've discovered is that in addition to the broadcast of the 2012 World Championships on CBS during the Masters, that also that article has been kind of an entry point for a lot of people.
There wasn't a lot of information about speed golf on the internet at that time, so that article was really, I think, really important at that time. I think it was the next Saturday morning. I got up really early, like at first light. I just chucked a few clubs in a soft bag, and I just went and played 9 holes, and at my local club before anyone else was around. And I think I shot 44 in 38 minutes, I think.
Nice.
And everything was soaking wet. My shoes are wet.
Oh, yeah.
My bag was wet, and I was swinging with wet clubs. And you know, the first time you play, you kind of don't quite. You sort of figure it out as you go along what you need to change and what you need to tweak to make it a better experience each time.
Yeah, it's like an initiation, a round of initiation.
But I didn't really think too much about it. I just had so much fun. And when I finished, I was like, what just happened? That was amazing. Like, I can't believe I haven't before. Like, I was so excited and so happy. Like, it's a really exhilarating feeling.
That is actually a very common word that I've heard used, is the word exhilaration. People finish their rounds and they use that word for the experience they just had. It was exhilarating. So yeah, you had the same experience, and it's just like anybody else. Now you're hooked. Now you want to play it more. But I think where things may be a little bit different for you was that like all of a sudden you play speed golf, you have that experience, it makes sense to you, the light goes off, but then you decide you're going to take it a step further and try to go to the World Championships, right?
There wasn't anything happening with speed golf in Australia at the time, so there was no competitions to play in. So my first ever speed golf competition was the World Championships in 2013.
Did you know of anyone else in Australia playing speed golf before you?
No. I'm sure that they did, and people run and play golf all the time.
Yeah, sure.
In terms of calling it speed golf, and in terms of being visible, no.
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, so so you see the World Championships, and that's actually where we met at Bandon Dunes in Oregon in October of 2013.
Yep.
And man, I instantly knew right away when I met you, and you were like, I want to take this back to Australia. I just knew it was going to happen. What were some of the first things that you did when you went back to get speed golf going from kind of an operational perspective? I mean, you're a player, but like I said, you take it a step further and you say, I don't just want to play this game, I want to grow this game. So when you got back, what were some of the first things that you did to take action? Before
I went overseas to play, I contacted Golf Australia, which is like the peak governing body in Australia for golf. And I asked them if they were doing anything with speed golf, and they just went, we haven't even heard of it, so why don't you come and tell us, when you come back from overseas, why don't you come and talk to us about it? So I had an opportunity when I got back to actually go to I was living in Canberra at the time, and I flew down to Melbourne, and I met with them at the Golf Australia office. I met with the National Golf Development Director and a couple of their marketing people, and I did a presentation to them, and we talked about the World Championships, and we talked about what we could do with speed golf in Australia and what my vision was for speed golf. So, not too long after that, we ended up, I set up Speed Golf Australia more formally, got a website going, Facebook page, and before we know it, we signed a memorandum of understanding with Golf Australia, which was mostly around increasing participation in golf generally. So, they gave us a bit of seed funding, and when we have an event, they sort of help us out. They do a lot of media stuff for us. We can just push stuff out to them, and they'll send it out through their channels. So they've been really, really great support. I think they get the reality, which is golf has been declining for a long time and it's not really getting any better, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to be as innovative and take some chances, whatever. They're willing to do whatever it will take to increase participation. So to that end, they will support any innovative golf ideas that they feel, can be managed. And they're happy just to let people like myself to go out and manage it, and they'll just sort of give the support. So they don't really have, it's not a big commitment for them. So they're just there to support, and really I'm sort of driving it. So, and, there's urban golf and there's foot golf and there's all sorts of things that they also support. But again, it's sort of being run by external people, and that they're just there to help with the media and whatever needs to be done. So it's not really a big risk for them.
Hey there, everybody. This episode is also brought to you by another awesome, forward-leaning, innovative golf venture called Rival and Revel. We all look forward to that next round of golf, a trip with old friends, or a rare moment of pursuing our passions late in the evening, the sun's going down. Their goal is to make this valuable leisure time even more enjoyable, efficient, and relaxing, offering a variety of branded golf accessories, club head tech covers, and the one and only Silo Golf Club carrier. This product is a game changer in the golf industry, and it may just be a game changer for you too. If you don't know what the Silo is, press stop. Head over to their website, rivalandrevel.com, and check it out. Whether you are the super competitive player or the one that just celebrates being out there, Rival and Revel's mission is to help you make the most of it. Now, they've got a special discount just for our listeners. Use the code PACEOFCHANGE at checkout to receive 10% off your entire order.
The opportunities, they invite me to the Australian Women's Open, the Australian Men's Open. I get to go along and spend 4 days there. A lot, with us doing speed golf stuff, either some little exhibitions or just have a stand next to their golf stuff that they do, the Golf Australia tent. So I get to go along to some of those events, which has been really, really good too.
And you actually were given a piece of the golf course to showcase speed golf, isn't that right?
Yeah, we had the par 3 19th hole at Royal Melbourne.
Oh my gosh.
Really special. And we were there with the foot golf guys, and we were playing foot golf on that hole as well as speed golf. And so people would come by, what are you doing?
Yeah.
We had things set up so kids could, play different things as well. So they had all different little activities set up, and speed golf was one of them. And yeah, a few people came and played and they really enjoyed it. They just went, this is amazing. It was lucky. It was kind of like a downhill as well. So it wasn't that hard for people to bust out one hole. So yeah, it was good fun. And we played in threes a couple of times. So 3 of us just played with one club, played the hole with one club, and we had to hit alternate shots. So sort of passing the club to each other. It was really good fun. You remember where we put together that speed golf video, and they actually played that, on the 18th
like the big Jumbotron screen?
Yeah, where they have all the scores and stuff. And so every 15 minutes or so, they'd play that short speed golf video, and, so it was really great to see it highlighted up there as well.
I'm interested to know your thoughts on starting to diversify the actual formats that are offered within the sport of speed golf. Have you thought much about that?
Yeah, I think there's some great opportunities to make it really fun. And I think what I found is that I've been mostly playing recently in a pair or, in a group of 3. And then one day I decided I'd play on my own, and I played 9 holes, and I just went, oh, this is so much harder.
Yes.
I didn't realize. I thought, So I think the team formats are really good. I think they're really fun, and I think there's lots of scope to do all sorts of things, even relays, And
relays, and what about shorter formats? I mean, what about one-hole formats? And yeah, I look forward to kind of being able to do that and start having during speed golf tournaments. I think having all these different options gives the most amount of people an opportunity to participate. Those who can't run 9 holes, like you just said, you go run 9 holes and you're like, ugh. But if it's just go run 100 yards or have a relay on a hole where, you know, you're just not having to run more than a few hundred yards, I think then more people say, yeah, I'll give that a try. That would be fun. And you have the group community aspect of it too, right?
do you remember in Bandon Dunes that year we had that event where the two stick event?
Yes.
And we ran through so many holes, and then there was a cut, and people with a certain score dropped off, whatever, and then the group got smaller and smaller as we went along. That was really good fun too.
Yes, I love that format. It's kind of like you have a cutoff, and every time, like, you take the top, you know, certain percentage, and you just keep going down until it's the final two. But that's really where I think this sport has a huge chance, because the community of athletes that can do just regular individual speed golf, the traditional speed golf format, I think is so small, and it's so specialized. But I think that people can still get the benefit of the sport and still enjoy the sport by having these different options, and they can grow into why not have it so where you can grow into that, you know? So tell me about what the future looks like for Speedgolf Australia, you know, kind of moving forward the rest of 16 and maybe a little bit into 17.
We would like to set up an actual association for speed golfers to join and be members of. I mean, Scott, at the moment, I'm making all the decisions about speed golf in Australia, and it's really hard because you really don't know what the players want, and you don't even know sort of who's really out there playing. So I think it's really important for people who are going to be involved in the sport to have a say in how the sport develops in Australia, and I'm sure, you know, it's got to be more than my view.
Yeah.
So we want to set up a speed golf association, which will then be run by, have a president, vice president, treasurer, etc., secretary, and a committee. And then, then members will have, voting rights, and they can participate in those decisions. And I think that's going to be a really good step forward. And I think looking to the future, looking at speed golf one day maybe being an Olympic sport, it's important for us to take that step and get that association formed. But also, we're also trying to really get the golf clubs involved, and golf clubs need to be able to be educated in what speed golf is and how they can manage it at their club. And be speed golf friendly. A lot of the questions I get from people is, where can I go to play? Mm-hmm. And generally I just say, well, you can really play speed golf anywhere. It's just golf. You just go a bit faster, but you just have to play when there's not too many people around. If you want to have a good run. But I think people are a bit concerned and a bit reluctant just to go out and start running on a golf course, because it does look a bit weird, I guess. And they're probably a bit worried about what someone, whether they'll get in trouble or whatever. So I think it's really important to have a list of golf clubs where people know that they can go and it's accepted, and they cater for it. Like they might even be tee times, especially for speed golf. We're going to run an event down at Menion, which is in South Gippsland, and it's this little country golf course which is run totally by volunteers. It's sort of in the middle of a sheep paddock.
Wow.
And it's a really cool. It
sounds
place.
Really cool.
Yeah, and so they contacted us and said, look, we want to do something new and do something different. So we're actually going to have the first Australian links run event on their course. It's going to be called the Menion Mile, and Kirsten Bull actually is going to be the race director and look after that for us. And also on the same day, we're going to have the mile race, and then we're also going to have an 18-hole teams event, speed golf teams event. But we're also going to have a 9-hole teams event with people who have never played golf before. So we're doing a bit of an experiment.
Awesome.
So there's a bunch of runners who will be there for the mile race, and then we're going to give them some golf clubs, and we're going to get them to play 9 holes. And Kirsten will be one of those players. So yeah, I'm sure you can't wait. So we're just going to do a bit of an experiment about if you give someone a golf club and get them to run and hit the ball, how are they going to go? We don't know, but we'll let you know.
Listen, I mean, that is so inspirational. That is so awesome. And let me ask you, are you going to have a way to kind of like exit interview these people?
Yeah, we certainly will be. We'll be doing before and after video so we can get a feel for what people's just general athletic experience is, and then we'll talk to them about how the golf went afterwards. But hopefully they'll have some fun, and they won't take it too seriously, and they'll be hooked. That's what we're hoping.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then what about the national championship?
We've decided to move the Australian Speedgolf Open to align it within a week of the New Zealand Speedgolf Open. And so we've been in touch with the New Zealanders, and we all think that's a great idea, and Golf Australia also thinks it's a good idea. So we'll be skipping this year. We'll be skipping the national event this year, but it will be in 2017. It will be January, February.
Yeah, you're just kind of pushing it back 6 months to get it in alignment. It sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. And then people coming from the Northern Hemisphere, they've got more than one event to go to and make the trip a bit more worthwhile.
Yes. Now I basically have no reason to not come.
Correct.
Yeah, I gotta make that happen. So, have you been in contact with Mitch lately? I'm wondering, because he now is the current world record holder in speed golf, and
not. So he pulled up really sore after the Australian Speedgolf Open. Pretty much couldn't walk the next day, and he's a really great runner, so I'm a bit surprised about it. And he ended up having stress fractures in his back. So he had to just pretty much stop doing everything, and that was one of the reasons he couldn't come to the World Championships last year.
That's right.
But he couldn't do anything. He couldn't run. He couldn't play golf. So, but I will be in touch with him again soon to give him an update on everything that's going on. So, I hope he's doing well. And his sisters are both really good speed golfers and really great runners. So I hope they've also kept up their training.
Virginia, thank you so much for your time today. I'll let you go, and let's definitely have you back on down the road. Would you be willing to come on again?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Awesome. How can people in the meantime, if they want to know more about you or Speed Golf Australia, or kind of what's progressing, what's happening, give them the best way to kind of follow along?
Most of our updates we'll do on Facebook, but we also have a Speed Golf Australia website too that people can go to. And as we progress, the association and all those other things, we'll probably be putting most of that information on the website and the Facebook page. So stay tuned.
All right, Virginia, until next time, thank you so much.
Thanks, Scott. See ya.
All right. Yes. All right. Episode 19 in the books. Virginia Deigan. How awesome was that? What a great story. Hey, that story is happening all over the world right now, and that is my goal, is to get around to each and every one of them. Because not only do I want to inspire speed golfers, I want every golfer out there to know that traditional golf is maybe not the only way to enjoy an experience on a golf course. You can play speed golf. You can play foot golf. We've interviewed the founder of the American Foot Golf League. There's so many different activities. You can run a race on a golf course and really enjoy it, because let's think about it. To be honest, is it really just the actual game, the mechanics of the game of golf that we really enjoy? That's part of it. Part of it is mastering that and becoming better at it and shooting a better and better score. But that's not the whole thing. That's not why when I was 8 years old and I went out to a golf course, I fell in love with it. I couldn't really hit the ball. But what I loved was breathing in the fresh air and just experiencing nature in that kind of environment and being around people that I loved and cared about. So that is what we're looking to bring into the 21st century for golf. And maybe that's how golf will be redefined, and maybe we'll have to redefine some of the other activities that are happening. Either way, we want you to be a part of it, and we want to hear your opinions. So please leave your comments on Facebook /Pace of Change and on Twitter @PaceOfChangePod. Of course, we're on YouTube. Please subscribe. We're also on iTunes, and if you could subscribe and leave a review there, that makes a huge difference. That's how more people can hear about it. So thank you for taking a minute to do that. We enjoy bringing you these podcasts. So until next week, we've got a great lineup of guests coming over the summer. Please make sure you subscribe so that you get notified every single week to listen in to this podcast. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you next week.